This year, you are going to spoil your loved ones. How? By gifting them a handmade retro Christmas cookie box. Welcome back, Vintage Recipe Heroes, to part 2 of our Retro Christmas Cookie Box series. This week, I'll be teaching you how to make cardamom cookies, orange-walnut date bars, and butterscotch acorn cookies. All recipes were published in 1966 in the Women's Day Encyclopedia of Cookery. Just like in part 1, you can gift this box on its own and anybody would be happy to receive it. But if you want to make something extra special, I suggest you combine the cookies from part 1 and part 2 to make the ultimate retro Christmas cookie box. However, if you're going to gift anyone anything this year, you better start baking right now. Cream the butter and sugar, then beat the sour cream into that. Add the dry ingredients and mix until they form a crumble, which holds together when pressed. Squeeze and roll the dough into 2 logs. This may take a little bit of maneuvering. Just enjoy the process and pretend it's Play-Doh. Then wrap them in wax paper or cling wrap and refrigerate overnight. Unwrap and slice into 1/8 of an inch medallions. These cookies don't spread a lot, so you can place them quite closely together on your tray. Bake at 375 for 8 to 10 minutes. Consider them done. This recipe says to grease and flour your baking tray, but honestly, I'd also line the bottom with parchment paper. Sift the dry ingredients and set aside. Cream butter and sugar, then add the egg, the orange zest, and the orange juice. Mix well, then add the dry ingredients and mix until blended. Stir in your walnuts and dates. I hope you pre-toasted your walnuts. This batter is very sticky, so get it into the pan and spread it however you can. I used an offset cake spatula. Bake at 350 until brown. Mine took 20 minutes. When slightly cooled, remove the cake from its tin. If you listened to me and lined your tray, you'll have no problem. If you just sprayed and floured your pan, much like I did, then, well, you'll see what's about to happen. Next, make the frosting. Beat the butter, then add the orange zest, yolk, and vanilla. Sift in around 2 cups of icing sugar, then add enough orange juice until it comes together and looks like frosting. Frost the top of your cake, sprinkle with the reserved walnuts, and cut into whatever size pieces you think your loved ones deserve. You don't need Santa to judge who's been naughty or nice. I'm sure you have a good enough idea. Melt the butter. Then mix in the sugar, vanilla, and pecans. Sift in the dry ingredients and mix well. These cookies really couldn't get any easier. Scoop or spoon them onto a lined baking tray and roll them into balls. This may require some squeezing as I found the dough rather crumbly. Create an indentation on each ball with the tip of a spoon. This is the acorn's hat. Then pinch the opposite end to give the indented ball more of an acorn shape. Bake at 350 for 15 minutes. Meanwhile, if you have trustworthy butterscotch chips or caramels you can melt down for dipping, please do so. My butterscotch chips didn't work out, so I had to resort to melting chocolate. When whatever you're using is melted, dip the indented part of the cookie into it and then roll it in chopped pistachios. I also salted mine because I noticed there's no salt in this recipe. Then finally, after all your burns, sweat, and cake tears, you can assemble your retro Christmas cookie boxes. Enjoy a sigh of relief before giving them all away. This trio of retro Christmas cookies was actually much easier than the previous trio. I'm not going to chat too much here. I'm just going to taste and rate these cookies and then let you decide if you want to make them this year for your retro Christmas cookie boxes. The first cookie I'm going to taste is the cardamom cookie. It's light and crispy, not quite like a shortbread, but very similar, and the cardamom flavor is present. However, I have a feeling that this flavor will get even stronger the longer you leave them sitting out. I'm gonna rate this cardamom cookie 7 out of 10. A little bit above average because I love the cardamom flavor, and I am counting on them getting better and better as time goes on. Next, let's try our orange walnut date slice. That is not a cookie, but that is a really, really delicious orange cake. The texture of the walnuts and the sticky dates is really nice, as well as the soft icing on top of the crumbly cake. It's almost too sweet for me, but not. And I'm gonna rate this orange walnut date square 8 out of 10. This is really, really yummy. Last, we have our chocolate acorn, not butterscotch. Texture of the cookie is so good, but actually right now the flavor of the chocolate is kind of overpowering it. So I'm going to take a bite of just the cookie part before I give it a rating. The cookie itself tastes butterscotchy and caramelly. It's so good. I think because we melted the butter too, it's crunchier. I really wish that I didn't have the chocolate on the outside and maybe not even the butterscotch. I feel like these cookies would just be great with a little bit of icing sugar on top. I'm gonna rate this cookie based on the actual cookie and not on my chocolate dip, which I had to do in a pinch. And this one gets a 9 out of 10. If I was going to do anything else different to this cookie next time, I would brown the butter. That'll make it even tastier and nuttier. So let me know what you think about our retro Christmas cookie box part 2, and let me know if you like this one or the previous one better. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. Bye. I've eaten too many cookies.